nor was I getting my lunch breaks or anything like that. I just really felt run down and tired, and I began to have burnout. What is up, nurse babes? It is me, Carle Rae. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if this is your first time here. If this is your first time here, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below, because I'm pretty sure you don't want to miss out this information to you ladies and gentlemen. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into today's topic. So like I said, today's topic came from a subscriber. She pretty much asked me, is there a difference in between working in a privately owned hospital and a government owned hospital? If you guys do not know, I have worked in both, and I have worked in several of the two, and I can tell you that privately owned hospitals tend to be the better choice for me, and let me tell you why. What I have found in like the government big hospitals is that they don't really care about their nurses. I mean, it's very few and far in between that you find a big government-based hospital that actually cares what the nurse has to say or care about the nurse themselves. And I say that because a lot of the times I've been in situations where I've been at those bigger hospitals and say we're short-staffed, right? Instead of the nurse managers a lot of time coming down and helping us, they still sit at their desk and, you know, they get to type it up. They are so stuck on actually being a nurse manager as opposed to actually getting out there, getting your hands wet and your feet dirty with your team, your group of nurses who you are supposed to manage. You know, they never come down to the floor and help us out, and if they do, we have to desperately be in dire need. But I feel like they don't listen to us. Like whenever we tell them, hey, we need breaks, we need someone to come down and relieve us. Crickets. Nobody ever comes to help us. I also feel like a lot of the times, like say there was a complaint about you, even though you as the nurse may be right, they will still side with the patient. You get what I'm saying? I feel like with the bigger hospitals, they are so quick to believe the patient, whereas they're not wanting to believe their nurse. That's one thing that I have truly found out about big government hospitals. Also, another thing that I can say about the big government-based hospitals is the fact that you do not get paid as well. So think about it. You have a big, huge corporation, right? But also up under that, you will have several people that you will have to disperse checks out to. There are a lot of people in this hospital that all desire to be paid. So that hospital, that company that you own, you will have to pay out several different people that you have to pay out. So just keep that in mind. You will tend to have a lower hourly rate. My lowest hourly rates came from the bigger government type of hospitals. Like, you guys are not gonna believe this when I tell you, but here locally, within East Texas, there are two major hospitals within my realm of Longview, Marshall, Hallsville area that I stay in. There's only two major hospitals. And I can tell you right now what they're paying their nurses at one of the facilities is $20 an hour is what the registered nurse will start out with, whether you have a BSN or whether you have your ADN. Now for the other hospital, you will be starting out at about 23, 24 is what I've last heard from a few of my nursing buddies that just graduated this year. So I'm just letting you guys know that. I know I did a video a long time ago when I first started my channel, I want to say over a year ago, about nurse pay and how it sucks. And a lot of you guys did not seem to believe that within my area, that's what nurses were getting paid. But honey, I'm sorry to inform you, that's what nurses really get paid within my area. I know, it's trash. And also when I was working for one of those hospitals, I had 6 years of ER experience, and the most that they could offer me was 31. So whenever I was living in the Dallas area, like a metropolitan type of area, I got paid more money. And that's what typically tends to happen. When you work in a heavily populated area like Dallas, Houston, Austin, those big areas, you will tend to have a higher pay. I want you guys to know that. But I live in a small rural type of area, and I'm just letting you know the pay here sucks. So let's talk about some of the good things that came from me working in those larger government type of hospitals. You get to see a lot. You get to see a lot, you get to do a lot. It's a really good experience to work for one of those larger, big type of hospitals, because as a nurse, you will become exposed to a lot of it. You get what I'm saying? Because those government-based type of hospitals, a lot of them accept ambulances and things like that, whereas those privately owned hospitals, they typically don't accept ambulances. But for those larger government hospitals, they accept ambulances, so which means that it increases your volume of patients that could come in, which increases your experience of things you can possibly be subjected to. I will say this, working in a larger government hospital, I got to use, like, I don't know if you guys know what this is, but it's a level 1 infuser. So whenever we would have traumas and things like that, really, really bad traumas where they needed blood immediately, they would use a machine called the level 1 infuser. Now, whenever I worked for my privately owned hospitals, they did not have that. They do not have a lot of the resources that the larger hospitals actually have. So at the larger government hospital, I got to learn so many different things. And to me, that was a great experience. So if I can tell anybody that's freshly getting out, go ahead and go for the larger government type based hospitals, because you will see, get to do, and actually get a feel of everything. You get what I'm saying? Because you never know what is going to come through that door. You never know who will be your patient or what your patient may be going through. So you just get to get your feet wet on a lot of different things. So those type of hospitals are really, really, really good for nurses that are just getting out and needing to gain that type of experience and build up their repertoire. Now on to the privately owned hospitals. Now, I have a huge passion for my privately owned hospitals because honestly, the pay is my number one. They pay astronomically better. So where I told you I was making 31 at the government-based hospital that I was at, even though I had 6 years ER experience, guess what? When I went to the privately owned hospital, I was offered at least $10 more at the privately owned hospital that I chose to work at. So that's one huge significant factor for me. I think for me being how many years have I been nursing now? 2012 is 20. So out of 8 years of ER nursing, I just really honestly I just really felt like I had all the experience that I needed at that point, but my pay wasn't really going up, nor was I getting my lunch breaks or anything like that. I just really felt run down and tired, and I began to have burnout. Don't get me wrong, I still love nursing, so I had to branch off to something different, which is why I chose to go to a privately owned healthcare facility. So I've already talked about my pay and how it tremendously increased. Second thing, management. It means the world to me that I know my manager, I know their number, and I can come to them anytime I have an issue or a problem, and they can physically resolve it or help me resolve it or point me in the right direction to resolve it. My current place of employment is a privately owned healthcare facility, and my nurse manager is absolutely one of the best nurse managers I've ever had. Like, I've never felt like I could go to my nurse manager and have a good relationship with my nurse manager, hug my nurse manager, be happy when I see my nurse manager, because like let's not fool each other. Like, working at those larger government-based type of hospitals, you will see your nurse manager come down and you're like, is she gone? She gone? Okay, we all back. You know, so it was just one of those situations I felt whenever I worked for those larger government-based type of hospitals. I hated it. I hated having that feeling with my nurse manager. A lot of times I felt like I couldn't go talk to them because honestly, I felt like they weren't gonna have my side anyway. That's the second thing that I love about my facility. The third thing is the appreciation that they give to their staff. It's so crazy to me how you can have a privately owned healthcare facility that runs so smoothly, so great, but the moment that you get to this larger scale hospital, you're like, where the hell, like how did we get here? How do the little facility over here get it, but the larger one don't? Like, to me, honestly, to make a good environment or a good healing and healthcare type of environment, you have to start with your staff. You have to let them know that you appreciate them. And so I have felt that appreciation from my privately owned facility that I currently work at. So like, several different instances. For Christmas, they appreciate us. They give us food. They throw parties for us. They give us bonuses. For Easter, they give us food. They show us their appreciation. You know, just different holidays or even just in general, period. So for example, we are all in a pandemic right now. Do you know my hospital physically came to us, wrote us a long page message and told us that they appreciated everything and every effort that we were giving, and they gave us hazard pay. The larger hospitals, my friends that still work there, they're not getting hazard pay, which is so crazy and astronomical to me that a larger facility doesn't even have the funds to show their nursing and healthcare staff that we don't even appreciate you doing this hard and strenuous pandemic. Like that's so crazy to me, and that lets me know that this company that I work for is the elite of the elite. Like I can't lie about it. I can't fake it. Privately owned hospitals, once you get your experience, that's the damn way to go, sis. That's the way to go. So another thing, with the privately owned hospitals, there is room for you to actually move up. I know you may not think that, oh man, it's not enough room for me to move up, but no, there is room for you to move up. Like at my other facility, I was a nurse there for 2 solid years. I never got offered the opportunity to be the trauma nurse. I never got offered the opportunity for me to actually even be a charge. But yet I go over here to this other facility. Though we don't have traumas and things like that, I have been offered the opportunity to be a charge nurse. So there was room for me to actually grow and flourish and actually get to add something up under my belt of me being a charge nurse that I never had. So I really love working for privately owned healthcare facilities. Another thing, even though it's privately owned, the owners would come down and come talk to us, say hey to us. They would pick up a chart and help us do things. They would start IVs for us and things like that, or they would just even come through and be like, hey, who wants Starbucks? You get what I'm saying? It's like those little things that help me feel like I'm in a good place. You get what I'm saying? That this isn't just some type of robotic type of experience. Like, you know, I'm not just a number. You get what I'm saying? I'm not just another nurse that you have to fill the floor. I'm actually a person. I'm actually somebody whose name you know. I'm actually somebody whose number you have and can easily come and talk to. You get what I'm saying? So I really love that about working for a privately owned hospital. So now let's get into some of the negatives that working for a privately owned hospital can have on you. The first thing, experience is very limited. Though we still get things rolling through our doors and we still have to handle things accordingly, a lot of the times those privately owned hospitals, they don't get a lot of exciting type of big learning experience type of stuff, because it tends to go to those larger hospitals that actually have those resources for it. So just be wary of that. Number 2, this is a huge one, y'all. There is an old saying that goes, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. So with a lot of my skills that I acquired at this larger more critical care type of facility, I feel like I'm very rusty on a lot of those things. like as far as in like a heparin drip, like as far as in like the insulin drip and the protocols or the stroke protocols and things like that. Don't get me wrong, we still have those instances and things like that, but we quickly have to send them out whenever that care gets to that point, because we are not a facility that can actually manage those type of critical care patients. We have to send them out. So that was one downfall that I noticed that was actually happening, because at the older hospitals, I was able to rattle off all these things about the stroke protocols and things like that, and what I should have and what I should do and things like that. Now I'm having to resort to that little card that comes in with the TPA and stuff like that. And now I'm having to rely on my own self to actually brush up on a lot of that stuff that I'm missing. So that's one thing to actually keep in mind. You will actually lose a lot of your skills. You will actually lose some of your skills because you're not actually doing them repetitively like you would in a larger hospital. Number 3, like I said, a lot of those privately owned hospitals, they do not take ambulances. So all of those trauma, critical care patients and things like that, that decreases your exposure that you have to those patients, which decreases your chances to learn a lot of new things, such as that level 1 infuser that I talked about earlier. It decreases those chances for you to learn those type of specific things. But yeah, guys, so pretty much that's all of the negatives that I can honestly think about or think of at this very moment, because this video was very impromptu. I really wanted to record something for you guys and just share this information with you guys. But I will say this to kind of wrap it all up. If you are a newer nurse, I would totally and highly advise you to go for those larger based government hospitals, because that is where you will acquire so much experience. Like, it's crazy how much experience you will acquire. But at a certain point, which you'll know when you get to that point, at a certain point you will get tired of all the hiatus that a larger big government-based hospital comes with, and you'll get tired of the pay. You'll get tired of the lack of appreciation for the staff. You'll get tired of the management, how poor it is, and you'll want to venture off and actually experience a different part of nursing or even a different hospital. And so that's actually what happened to me. It was 6 years in for me, and that's when I realized working for privately based owned hospitals is the shit. It's the shit. So I hope this video was very helpful for you guys. If it was, please give this video a thumbs up. If you guys like this video, please give this video a thumbs up. If you feel that this information can be helpful, please share this information with your other nurse babes, nursing students, anybody that's actually even thinking about nursing. If you feel that this information was helpful and can be helpful to others, then please share this video. But if you guys have any questions, comments, or any other thing that I may have missed that you have experienced, then leave that information down below. I used to say this on my older videos, but here on my channel, I really want this to be a resource tool or like a forum for you guys. So please drop that information down below, because you never know, someone may be looking at your comment thinking like, man, this comment really helped me out. Please don't feel shy about commenting if I missed anything or whatever the case may be, guys. So but I will go ahead and get up out of here. Make sure you subscribe if you have not, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, babies. Stay safe.